Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today and
Into family stress.
yeah, exactly. Family stress. Those times when things get a little bit
Rocky.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how we can make it through those times.
Yeah.
As a family and as individuals.
Emerge stronger on the other side.
Yeah, and that's really the goal, right? We're not looking to pretend like stress doesn't exist.
No.
It's part of life, right?
Absolutely.
But we're here to sort of look at some of the insights that the material we're looking at today has to say about leading families through those tough times.
Well, and it's interesting because what I appreciate about this material is that it says, look, every family is going to face challenges, right? So it's not like if your family's facing challenges, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
It's like, no, this is part of it. This is part of the deal.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So we're all in the same boat on that one.
Exactly. And so the thing that I was really struck by in reading through this was this emphasis on kind of being a proactive leader.
Yes.
It's almost like, getting ready for a hurricane before it hits.
Yeah.
Like you're taking steps to prepare your family for those inevitable challenges.
Yeah, because if you wait till the hurricane hits to start boarding up the windows, it's too late.
Right, exactly.
So what are some things we can do as leaders in our families, ahead of time to prepare?
Yeah, what could that look like? I mean, because that sounds like a great idea, but like how do we actually put that into practice?
So some practical things you can do are, as a family, have discussions about, finances, how we're going to handle finances as a family.
Yeah.
Having family meetings to talk about, potential stressors.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of getting kids involved even from a young age with age-appropriate things,
Right.
So even young children can participate in creating a family mission statement.
I love that. Or brainstorming fun activities that you can do as a family to kind of, de-stress
Yeah.
and blow off steam.
Right. Because if you have those things in place, like you were saying ahead of time,
Right.
then when something does come up, you're more
resilient.
You're more resilient, exactly.
And you can kind of weather that storm a little bit better.
Yeah, and the material also talks about those specific challenges that the families tend to face.
Right.
Finances obviously is a big one. Health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional turmoil, all of those things. And I'm curious, like in your work with families, what have you seen? Like, what tends to be the thing that kind of hits families the hardest?
It's interesting. The material doesn't rank those challenges.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that is because it's not really about the specific challenge that the family is facing so much as it is how they face it together.
Okay.
And this idea of unity.
That is really, I think, the key to resilience for families is how unified are they when they're facing these challenges?
So it's more about like the approach and the togetherness.
Exactly.
Than it is about the actual problem itself.
Right, because you can have a family that is facing a relatively minor challenge.
Yeah.
But if they're not unified in how they're facing it,
right,
it can create major problems.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And vice versa, you can have a family facing, a really significant challenge.
Yeah.
But if they're unified,
right,
they can often, come through it even stronger than they were before.
Okay, so unity, but that's kind of a, it's one of those words that sounds really nice.
Right.
But like, what does that actually look like in practice? Like, let's say a family is dealing with job loss.
Right.
Like, you can't just hug away a mortgage payment.
Yeah, you're right. And we need to have some concrete actions that we can take. And the material talks about open and honest communication. And what that means is being upfront about the situation.
Yeah.
Even with kids age appropriately.
Right.
Making sure that everyone feels heard
okay,
and validated.
So it's not about like pretending everything's okay. It's about being like, hey, this is what's going on.
This is what's happening.
And we're going to figure it out together.
Right.
I like that.
Because even if the final decision that the parents make,
right,
might not be the ideal decision for everybody if everybody feels like they were heard.
Right.
And that their perspective was taken into consideration, that goes a long way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Towards, creating that sense of unity.
Yeah. And there's also this emphasis on creating a sense of safety.
Yes.
Which seems kind of counterintuitive when you're like in the middle of something stressful. Like,
because you think, well, if things are falling apart, how can we feel safe?
Yeah.
But the material defines safety as more than just the absence of problems.
Okay.
It's about feeling supported. Knowing that your family has your back no matter what. I
Okay.
think that is what allows people to cope
Okay.
because they know that they're not alone in this.
Right.
You know, that their family is there for them.
So there's that sense of like, okay, even if
It's really hard.
it's really hard,
I got people.
you've got people.
We're going to be there with me through it.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I see the connection there.
Yeah.
And it also keeps talking about, you know, creating the supportive environment.
Yes.
Which again sounds great.
Right.
But like how do you actually like make that happen?
So the material breaks it down into some really tangible things.
Okay.
You know, active listening is huge.
Okay.
So really listening to what your family members are saying, trying to understand their perspective,
Okay.
validating their feelings.
Okay.
And this is a big one.
Yeah.
Even the messy negative feelings.
Okay.
Could be that we all have them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so often we try to sweep those under the rug or
You know, tell people, oh, you shouldn't feel that way.
right.
But the material says no.
Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Validate it. And then offer practical help.
Okay.
Even in small ways.
So not just like, I'm here for you,
Right.
but like, what can I actually do to...
What can I actually do to help you right now?
Yeah.
And that could be something as simple as, you know, doing the dishes.
Right.
Or, you know, giving somebody a ride.
Folding laundry.
Folding laundry. Yeah.
Yeah.
All those little things.
Yes, it's about showing up.
Showing up. Exactly.
Right.
And a big part of that is the leader modeling those behaviors.
Okay.
And that's where this emphasis on self-care for the leader comes in.
Okay. I'll admit when I read that part, I was kind of like,
Really?
yeah, like self-care. Who has time for like a spa day when like the world's falling apart?
I know. But the material makes a really good point
Yeah.
about the importance of modeling healthy coping mechanisms
Right.
for your family.
Yeah. Because if you're running on empty,
Exactly.
you can't actually help anybody else.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
So it's not selfish
Okay.
to take care of yourself.
It's essential.
It's essential.
Okay. I like that reframing
Yeah.
because it's true, you know, and I think sometimes we feel guilty about taking time for ourselves.
Yes.
But really it's about, you know, filling up your own cup so that you can then
Fill up the cups.
fill the cups of others.
Us others, exactly.
So what are some things, you know, the material talks about finding things that work for you?
Yeah.
What are some things that you found work for you or that you've seen work for other people?
So many things, you know, and it really is about what works for the individual.
Right.
But some common things are exercise.
Okay.
You know, even just going for a walk.
Yeah.
Spending time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you know, step outside,
Right.
take a couple deep breaths.
Yeah.
You know, listening to calming music, having a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And just having that quiet time to yourself.
Right.
Even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Those little things can make a big difference.
They really can.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't have to do all of them.
Right.
Just pick one
right.
that resonates with you
Find what works for you.
and start there.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember too that, you know, we're not talking about erasing stress from our lives, right? Because that's not realistic.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's about equipping ourselves
Right.
and our families to kind of
Navigate it
navigate it better.
better.
Yeah. And I love that word navigate because it's not about like getting rid of it. It's about
moving through it.
moving through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe even like you were saying earlier,
Yeah.
coming out stronger on the other side.
Absolutely. And here's something to think about.
Yeah.
If successful navigation of family stress means emerging stronger, what growth opportunities might exist within the challenges that you're currently facing?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question to sit with for a little while.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there who are listening, you know, and are in the middle of, you know, maybe some family stress.
Yeah.
Just remember, you got this.
You do.
You know, you have the strength to lead your family through these tough times.
You do.
And who knows, you might even discover some hidden strengths
Absolutely.
and resilience along the way that you didn't even know you had.
That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds great.
All right.
Bye.